Hello, ladies and gents, I'm Rex, and this is True Facts, Trap Jaw Ants. I think it was a Tier Zoo video I reacted to. What was it? Zefrank? No, it was Tier Zoo video. The ant that uses its jaw, basically escape from predators. So if something was, trying to attack it from, I guess, below or something, suddenly snaps its jaw and that propels it, in the air. That was just awesome thing to see. It's some kind of defense mechanism. That's what he's going to talk about, Trap Jaw here. zefrank1 is a great channel. I've reacted to quite a few videos from this channel already. It's not much of like Tier Zoo information thing. Even though that is an information, it's usually about to make fun of things using the real facts. That is the best thing about it. So yeah, remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the casual playlist like Tier Zoo, Internet Story, and Production, History, CGP Grey, and yeah, let's watch this one.
Mildred, don't do it. Don't do it. He's bigger than you. Oh, well, there she did it. Jerry, Mildred's gone off the table again. Sorry, you'll have to excuse Mildred. She gets triggered quite easily, kind of a cash-me-outside sort of ant. And to be fair, she does have prior beef with Dr. Adrian Smith's finger, which we will not be talking about. But if you really want to understand Mildred's quick temper, you'll need the backstory, because she's had quite a tough time of it. Mildred is an ant in the genus Odontomachus and the species Bruneus. Here she is when she was just an egg. She's the one on the top. She was born into a family with around 300 sisters and a very long line for the bathroom. That's one of her older sisters right there, Madison. Madison is supposed to be babysitting, but you can probably tell she has some issues. Madison takes after their father. There he is right there, the one on the left. Looks nothing like the daughters, so there were rumors, but in fairness, Odontomachus males don't even look like ants. They look like wasps,
yeah,
so much so that even scientists get confused. But Mildred's father was a live fast, die young.
It's not just about the wing, the way they are long, they look like wasps.
Sort of fellow, literally. And Mildred's mother, who is an actual queen, by the way, was into it. So they had a one-night stand, and then he never came back. Well, because he was dead. Jerry, do we have any footage of him when he's not drunk?
Seriously, what was that?
The point is, Mildred's mother had to go dig a hole somewhere and raise the children all by herself. I know what you're thinking. How could it be a one-night stand if Mildred's sister is so much older than her? Well, that's because Mildred's mother, who is a queen, has something called a spermatheca. A spermatheca is... Alright, imagine you're on the Wheel of Fortune, and the answer is scumbag, but someone still has to guess an S. Jenny, I didn't say any... Oh, you were bleeping what they were thinking. Right. It is an organ that stores sperm and keeps it alive for later use, like the mirror image of a testicle. Anyway, back to Mildred. Here she is, just hatching from her egg as a larva, and now fully emerged. You probably noticed the spikes. Well, to give you an idea of how rough it is in this family, those spikes are probably to protect her from her larvae's sisters, because when they hatch, they're hungry. And this isn't like those other ants who pre-chew the food and gently put it into the baby's mouths. You know what they do here? They dump a whole friggin' termite right on the baby's belly and let them have at it. And look at that, they put the termite too far down and now the poor thing has to do sit-ups. Now, you might have...
Yeah. This is to train them for the wild world that is out there. It's effed up, man. Look at all the spikes and things.
Notice something else. Right here, those four little bumpy things. Scientists call these sticky doorknobs. Not kidding. Sounds like a good name for a band. Jerry, why did I said You think I said Tell me, what is a band, Jerry? The bleep button is a privilege. Amateur. Anyway, these sticky doorknobs, which they probably called sticky knobs first until the UK scientists were like, nope. These sticky doorknobs are used to stick the larvae right up onto the wall. And then the babies have to spin their own blankie, cocoon, whatever, with crap that comes out their face parts. Like a nursery from hell. But inside that cocoon, Mildred could finally develop into an ant. Now, being the daughter of a queen, you'd expect Mildred to be a princess. But you know what they call her? A worker. That's some Cinderella shit right there. The beginning of Cinderella. Not the part with that woman who makes transportation out of vegetables. I mean, that is some very niche magic. So here's Mildred out hunting. Not great at it. The termites like, what the hell, get it over with. But she wasn't born into this job. Not like other ants where there's soldiers and workers and everyone's a different size and can't share clothing. There is a hierarchy, and workers do have different roles, but it's determined by duking it out. Now, it's not like a barroom brawl sort of duking it out, more like a high-speed tippy-tappy slap fight. They use their antennae to pop each other on the noggin 30 to 40 times a second. Here it is in slow motion, and this behavior is apparently satisfactory in determining who is more dominant. The winners get to stay in the nest, and the losers have to put their ass on the line and go out hunting. That means the weak ones, like the noobs and the boomers, do the dangerous work. It's all topsy-turvy. And that's why Mildred, being a noob, is out of the nest hunting. Unlike other ants who recruit...
I didn't know it was something like that. I thought everybody just goes out for hunt, but apparently there's some kind of a social fight that they do to determine who's going to go outside. Damn.
Each other with pheromones and hunt in groups. Mildred hunts alone. This is in part because she's a total freaking badass. You've probably noticed the snappy mandibles, and we'll get to that in a second, but that's not her only weapon. She is also equipped with a very pointy butt. 2 stylets inside of her stinger move back and forth to deliver venom into the body of her prey. Sure, it might seem like Mildred's overdoing it a bit with his termite. It seems quite defenseless, but you never know. Termite might be talking shit. Back to those mandibles. Ants use their mandibles to grab.
So, he was about to kill that termite with the jaws, but the termites were like, "You ain't got shit," and just talking shit to her. And she's like, "Okay, that's it. You are going down."
Kind of like having pinchy fingers for a mustache. But ants in the genus Odontomachus can also spread theirs wide apart and then snap them shut like a trap. This motion is incredibly fast. The mandibles accelerated up to 1.2 million meters per second squared, which is about 10 times faster than a fastball being hit by a bat. It is one of the fastest movements of any known animal. I told you Mildred was a badass. And you know how she does it? A good clenching. Here's what one of her mandibles looks like up close. Kind of like a recalled sex toy. Jerry, show them what you made. It's a bit easier to understand. Roughly speaking, there's 3 main components to Mildred's trap jaw. First, when the mandible is opened wide enough, a little sticking out part slots into a groove. Next, the mandible closing muscles tighten. Because the mandible is held in place, this builds up potential energy, both in the muscle but also by deforming the skull of the ant. Finally, given the appropriate signal, another muscle releases the mandible from the catch, and then they pop right up like a midnight erection. One of the signals that determines when to pull the trigger comes from these little hairs. It's not an automatic reflex, but these little hairs seem to act as range finders, putting the prey at just the right distance. These jaws are remarkable weapons for hunting, but they can also be used in defense. The mass of the mandible is small, about that of a grain of salt, but the acceleration is quite large. And that means when it meets resistance, it generates a force large enough to create a bit of recoil. Here's a better view, with another one of Dr. Adrian Smith's fingers that doesn't have the best reputation. This ability to strike and retreat comes in handy, because there's a lot of scary shit out there. For example, this ant right here.
Yeah, I think it was Tierzu video where I guess a spider was attacking from below. One of those spiders that, goes inside of the sand and waits for a prey. I think it was that. And suddenly trap jaw and, snaps his jaw and it flies off immediately. That was ridiculous.
Here, Formica archboldi. Freaking psycho. See those things around it? You know what they are? Skulls of trap jaw ants that it keeps in its nest. Who knows what it does with them? And this ant doesn't have a trap jaw or a stinger. You know what its weapon is? It fires acid out of its butt. And trust me, if you have butt acid coming at you, you'd better have an escape plan. Because if you get hit, you're done for. And this one here is even worse. I know it doesn't look that bad, but when it's a baby, it's downright terrifying. These so-called ant lions dig little pits into the sand and hide down in them. An ant comes along, falls in, starts trying to get out, and then the ant lion starts throwing sand at it. Until it falls back in and gets impaled by these jaws that have digestive juices in them. Scary stuff.
Wait a minute, this is the video Tierzu was talking about, this particular ant here.
Like being in kindergarten and having a biter in the ball pit. But if Mildred falls in, she opens up her mandibles and angles them down into the ground. Snapping them shut, she catapults herself out of the pit and away from the jaws of the antlion. Timing is everything. If she
Wait a minute, was it zefrank1 video or was it Tierzu video? Because this was the clip I was thinking of. Damn, this is awesome. This thing here is more dangerous at this state than its adult form apparently.
Waits too long, she's fucked. But ants like Mildred in the genus Odontomachus aren't the only ants with spring-loaded mouthparts. In fact, it appears that this capability has evolved independently in a number of different ant genera. The size of the ant, the shape of the mandible, and even the mechanism for spring-loading varies from species to species. Tiny little leaf litter trap jaws in the genus Strumigenus use their mandibles to catch bugs that are incredibly fast, like the springtail. I mean, come on, it's called a springtail, you know it's fast. There's even an ant, Mystrium camillae, that doesn't even have to open its mandibles for a snap. Instead of spreading its mandibles apart, it generates force by pushing them together, like the knees of a child who has to urinate. When the mandibles snap, they slide past each other, like the snapping of a finger. This snap, captured at over 400,000 frames per second, was the fastest animal movement ever described. Until they found a friggin' termite that does basically the same thing but a little faster. The ants were like, why'd you have to keep looking? And that's the problem with the scientists. They can't be like the rest of us and just say that's cool and flip on the television. They're like those annoying children that keep asking why. Except people give them money, not much. But thank goodness, because it encourages them. Anyway, a bunch of them got together with their little white...
Those pesky scientists are constantly annoying. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Is edge of the universe here yet? Is edge of the universe here yet? Those pesky scientists. Thank God that budget is very low.
Coats and wanted to understand how a mechanism like the trap jaw might have evolved and taken on such a variety of forms. In the genus Strumigenus, there are species with trap jaws and species without them. In ants that don't have a trap jaw, the part in between the mandibles, the labrum, moves out of the way when the jaws close. Just a slight modification of allowing the labrum to stay put creates the basis for a latch and spring system, and from there it was off to the races. The varied forms of the Strumigenus trapjaw seem to be the result of gradual evolutionary changes that occurred after that initial function was in place. It's a cool little movie, isn't it? Oh, they're doing it again, but with the heads on them. It's like a cartoon to terrify the children. Play this in a sex ed class without telling anyone what it is. And then say, always use a condom. And drop.
Okay, now I hope somebody does that kind of a prank. This would be, oh God, where does this guy get all this thing to say, man? This is awesome.
Drop your microphone, which apparently you use in sex ed class. No, Jerry, I don't know what the backstory is. Well, what Dr. Adrian Smith does with his fingers is none of our business.
So there is a Dr. Smith who's like, all right, I'm going to provide you some clips and some information for your great informative videos. Zefrank was like, yeah, man. Man, I really hope somebody uses that clip for sex ed, sort of the sex ed, classes. That would be ridiculous. Damn. Zefrank1 is great, man. He uses real world facts and just comes up with this shit. It's just awesome. I've never laughed so much in any video like I watch it, laugh in Zefrank1 videos. It's awesome. And he just tells, he just talks about fact and make jokes based on that. Alright people, that was True Facts, Trap Jaw Ends by Zefrank1. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday, there's a link in the description. Check out the castle place, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.